Hello, welcome to Community Child Care Center. My name is Rachel and I am going to be giving you a tour of the older preschool room. First, let me show you where the preschoolers enter the building. All of the kids enter the building here. And they walk through the hallway and use this bathroom here for washing hands. The door is usually propped open. And then if you're an older preschooler, you come here, you stop at your mailbox and grab your inside shoes and then hang up your snowsuit or outside coat and snow pants on your hooks. Obviously, if your hook's a little high, you might need to ask a teacher for some help. Then, with your inside shoes on, you enter the older preschool room. Rachel, that's me, and Taylor are the lead teachers in the older preschool room. It's a picture of us out in the snow. When preschoolers first come in, they stop here to check out their arriving to school jobs. They make sure they have their inside shoes on. They stop to wash their hands one more time. They fill up their water bottle. They try on their masks, and they sign in. No preschoolers are here right now. Usually when they are, their chairs are down at the 3 tables. We have 2 rectangle tables and the circle table. Our bathroom is over here for kids who need to use the toilet. They line up here next to our art galleries. The preschoolers can put art on if they want. And then here's where we wash our hands. The kids wash their hands down here. The teachers wash their hands up here. Water bottles that are washed and cleaned every day are stored over here in the drying racks. The older preschoolers grab their water bottle, fill it up at the sink using the faucet or the drinking fountain, and then grab their lid and put it on. And then every preschooler has a parking spot for their water bottle. Here are the parking spots. We sometimes run a humidifier to keep our room moist and not too dry, especially during the winter. Up here on the cabinets, we put kids' work, sometimes an activity that we did all together. We also have the alphabet in uppercase letters and American Sign Language letters, and uppercase and lowercase with a picture that starts with that letter. Over here by the door to the classroom, there are some buckets for toys. So after the preschoolers play with toys, they bring them over to this bucket. They stay in this bucket until an assistant teacher takes them out, washes and sanitizes them, and then puts them back in the classroom on the shelves. This little blue bucket is for any art supplies, any pens, pencils, or glue bottles we might use that aren't from our individual activity baskets go in there to be washed and sanitized as well. Dress-up clothing or stuffed animals, once we play with them, go in this laundry basket and stay there until they are laundered. And any of the kids' masks that have been used stay in here in this bag until they have been laundered. On our documentation board, which is typically for families to see what we're working on in the room. Fortunately, we don't have families coming in, so they don't get to see as often, but it has some different activities they did about feelings, feeling happy and sad. Some art there displayed on here for them to look at and read. The preschoolers each have their own cubby, which includes a cubby basket with some extra clothing in them. They have a bag for masks for when they're not wearing them during the day. All the kids have their own tray and a space for sweatshirts and other things they might want. And every child has an activity basket that includes a bag of markers and crayons, a bag of Legos, a container with a little sensory experience for them to explore, a bag with glue sticks and scissors, a squeezy ball, some Play-Doh, some pattern block frames, and there's some pattern blocks too. So every child has their own individual activity basket with things that are for just them to use. They all have their own art gallery as well, and all the preschoolers have their own name cards that might have their first name on it or their first and last name on it. Down here we have lots and lots of art supplies that they can put into a small container and take over to their tray or to their table spot to make some art with. We always wash our hands before and after using the art supplies or painting. And if they paint, then their paintbrushes go into the teacher's sink to be washed and sanitized after they use them. Over here, we have our ice cream shop, their ice cream shop table, some aprons and a cash register, lots of different ice cream in the freezer, and some toppings, fruits, and other foods, as well as different containers, different dishes, a kettle, some pretend soap in a sink, and some other different containers for using in the ice cream shop. Over here is also where our Play-Doh supplies are. So if the children are using Play-Doh from their individual activity basket, they can grab a couple of Play-Doh tools. And then again, once the child uses these, they go right over to our buckets to be washed. With our puzzles, once a preschooler uses a puzzle, they give it to a teacher, and then we put it up on a shelf to stay for the week. And then it comes back down the next week. There are two different places where kids can find stools to help them reach things that might be a little tall for them, or if they just want to stand on a stool. Sometimes they practice jumping from stool to stool. Our writing center includes some different supplies, stickers, stencils, practicing writing letters and using rulers. And again, when these materials are used, then they go over into one of the toy washing buckets. Our loose part shelf includes some sorting trays and some different mats that show different things like ocean animal outlines, counting different animals. There's a world map and different animals that live around the world. It also includes our grid games with spinners and dice, sorting bowls. Right now, this little polar bear snuck over here. Right now we have our skateboards. Maybe the polar bear was going for a ride. Let's see. Woohoo! We have some wooden block people, animals, and cupcakes. Some foam creatures, as well as foam letters. Laminated mittens and hats. The mittens they like to use for a memory match game, where we flip them all upside down, lay them out, and then they try to find matches. That's how we play a memory match game with these mittens. We also have our counting bears. There are a few counting cats and rats in here too. A few different counting animals. Kids like to fit them in these mittens from the story we read called The Mitten, and then also there are actual mittens elsewhere they use, and our counting dinosaurs, which are similar colors to our bowls, so they can sort them into it. Here's our stuffed animal basket. Have a few bears, some unicorns and pegasi, and other animals. Past the stuffed animals, we have our shapes that we sit on group time that have our names on them. We have our song sticks up on top of the writing center. Here is Dinosaur Land with some real life bones. A variety of dinosaurs, large and more small and medium. And then our popper eggs that have different shapes on them and have dinosaurs pop up. Over here we have our wooden blocks that again are sanitized after each use with ramps and balls. We have our schedule on the board, our second step and our small groups. We have some dinosaur and volcano blocks, a volcano, and some nests over here to go with the blocks and the dinosaurs. We have lots and lots and lots of center books, as well as our number line that we have been counting through since the start of the fall semester. Here is our seasonal timeline, the seasonal board. Each season, we ask the preschoolers about the season, put some pictures of them enjoying the season, pictures of some trees during the season to see how they change, and do the children's heights. We haven't quite gotten into winter yet. I believe that's next week. So right now the winter board just says different pictures of the kids wearing their outside gear. But that will be adjusted. There's also a measuring tape here for the kids to grab if they want to practice measuring themselves, and one attached to the board. Over here we have some musical instruments. We also have people, community helpers, furniture, and pets, as well as some puzzles. Some of these things can be played with here in our dollhouse. The dollhouse right now is right below our class board, our family board that lists all the children in the class, and right next to our community board that has pictures of us all in masks and pictures of other people from around the world wearing masks as well. We try to keep our outside door open for some of the day to get lots of air circulation. Although right now you can see it's snowing, a little cold out there. Here is where we check to see what we need to wear outside. And we adjust this as needed. And here is our classroom helper chart that we were not using this first fall semester, just from adjusting things due to the pandemic, but we will start using again starting in January. Here's where we have some center hats and mittens for kids who forget their home hats or mittens. And again, after a child uses this, then it goes into the laundry basket. Here is where we keep our outside boots. Here is more of our number line. And usually there is a snowflake on the number line to show which day we're on, but it looks like it has gone missing. I will have to search for it. But because we're on one of these days right here, I believe we might be on 65 or 66. We'll have to find that snowflake. Oh, I think I found it. It's hiding. I'm gonna put it on 66 for now. Here is our rainforest sensory table. In the sensory table, the kids always wash their hands before playing in it and wash their hands after playing in it. Then we also sanitize the sensory table at least twice a day. In the medical center, as we're approaching here, the medical center has some timers, some boards for taking x-rays on or writing a waiting list, measuring tape, some scrubs for doctors and nurses to wear, potato heads and potato head parts, lots of medical supplies, and then also some dental supplies and some teeth to practice on in case you need to see the dentist at the medical center. We have some jewelry, Some other dress-up clothes, including some dragon and dinosaur wear. We have some mittens up here, some soft mittens that they can use for counting bears, like in the mitten book we read. Or they can use it in the polar cave. We'll go there next. Here is the waiting room for the medical center. You can wait, exploring some letters or some mazes. You can look over our classroom guidelines that the preschoolers came up with together. Some other alphabet and calendar things. You can use a timer or a sensory bottle while you're waiting. Look in the mirrors or explore some other science materials. We also have a very large bone puzzle in the classroom. And we have bookshelves with picture books, different word books, chapter books, and board books that the children like to use as well. So mittens could be used in the polar area. The preschoolers painted this cave for us. I'll show you, we also have some dinosaur and dragon heads and feet that they can dress up in. Here in the polar ice cave, you'll see our air purifier that we have running throughout the day. Our read-alongs up there, including the mitten, which I've mentioned. And then we have our music player and our CDs. And our laptop that also plays music. Down here, we have some counting penguins of all sorts of different colors and ice floes that the kids can put them on. And then many different polar area animals in this area, including this little polar bear. And then a quiet cubby for them to snuggle up in if they ever want to. Some polar ice, a lake, some wild animals over there snuggled up. Again, the preschoolers painted this at the start of this room change. So that is it. That is our classroom. I hope you enjoyed this tour. Feel free to email us if you ever have any questions about what's happening in the classroom or what the kids are learning about. We would love to respond. Thank you and enjoy the snow.